All right, motherfuckers, it's me again, Shraft. I'm back. I'm back for number two. Um, I hope this can be said without taking a million years to say it, because it's a pretty simple point I want to make. I'm like the the key shift, recent shift that is kind of I guess would be the spark which inspired me to start actually like recording this shit again, because the last time I did a recording it was like after my ego death experience in 2022, and it was on a completely different channel and probably will not be re-uploaded here. um I as I said in the last one, the intro, episode 1 or whatever you want to call it, um I very much, for the majority of my life, lived in my mind, and like lived in the realm of thoughts and the rational mind, and being able to think my way through things, reason through things. Like the constant mental chatter was like the norm, was like the main focus of my consciousness was that inner dialogue. And last episode I said in 2021 I started meditating to like start examining my relationship that I had with that process. And early on in meditating, I would have moments where thoughts would cease for just like a couple seconds. And I it would be so like eye-opening of like, holy shit, my fucking inner dialogue can like stop, like cease. And I'm still here. I'm still a conscious, aware being. I don't disappear when the thoughts stop. I don't disappear, which is like goofy in retrospect to think that you would, but like for someone who is so bound up in I am my thoughts. If the thoughts are not here, who even am I? Right? To like have moments of like not being in the thought realm, I think were really clarifying for me early on, and like really big deals. And I thought that that's what the essence of it was like, oh, meditation's about trying to control your thoughts and like have these moments, like not control them per se, like letting them exist, but like through stillness, through physical stillness, and like focusing on the breath, like you get these moments when thoughts cease. And when the thoughts cease like that, like what I thought was like that's what progress looks like, is like getting your thoughts to appear less. Whereas like later, as years would go by, I would have a different understanding of it, of like thoughts are not something that's bad or wrong that you have to get rid of. It's the attachment and the aversion to them that causes suffering. um inherently, when you're attached or averted to literally anything in this world, you will inherently suffer. If not now, then down the line. Like guaranteed, happens every single fucking time without fail. Attachment and aversion are the key ingredients of you suffering. The like recently, in like maybe since I saw the Swami in April, I've been like very much grounded in my thoughts are an object of awareness. My mind is an object. My mind is not. I am not the thinker of thoughts. Like thoughts appear to me, but they are not me. They appear in me. Like it is an object of which I am aware, but it's not. It is not. There's nothing about thoughts that are inherently myself. They are objects of awareness and thus cannot be the same as the awareness that is aware of them. Hopefully that's clear. That's like a central thing for me. That's like a key tenet of like being able to go to the next level of whatever the object of awareness is consciousness appearing as that. Is when you're in whatever space you're in right now, like look, audience, look around you, wherever you are right now. Look at the room, or if it's outside, whatever the surroundings you find yourself in. All of those things are appearing within your consciousness. It is your consciousness reflecting back to you as this environment. Like that's maybe that like I think if you think that's like it's a your ego having a dream, like it's like you are still a separate individual, but like the world that you experience is like contained within that separate self, then it's like lonely and like shit. But if you simultaneously realize like all of existence is like that, it's like completely liberating. But regardless, lots and lots of practices, lots and lots of years of like relating to my thoughts as objects that come and go. They come and go. I remain the same. I witness them come and go. My mind changes, my body changes. All of these aspects I witness the change of, but there is something changeless and eternal that sees all of them and has been doing so for the entirety of my life. Like if you believe in past lives, that too. And it's the same in other individuals. Um, so recently I've been learning to, in trying to like live in the zone of like a lot of my spiritual practice has been trying to become directly aware of the consciousness that is aware of everything. Like how do I take this consciousness, which is the eternal subject? It can never be an object to itself in the same way that other objects appear to it. Like you can never see your consciousness as some external thing because it is the thing that is looking. So like to become aware of it is a different process than becoming aware of literally fucking anything else. You're being aware of your own consciousness is a completely different process, because it's you are aware of it as it. You are not aware of it as something that you witness. The fact that witnessing is happening makes it evident that it exists. Anyways, that's all logic. That's all thinking. And that's like a lot of the groundwork of like what allowed me to get to the stage where I am now. So like there are 3 stages in Advaita Vedanta practice. And they're all relative to like your relationship to the teachings of Advaita Vedanta, which all aim to tell you you are the eternal consciousness because of which everything exists. The first stage would be you listen to the teaching. So like you listen to like Swami or you read the books that are like teaching you about the doctrine, like basically explaining to you what the ultimate reality is like how to realize it. And then like other things, they also like they don't like, while ultimately it says the world that we experience is not ultimately real, it's relatively real. They still, because they acknowledge you until the full knowledge of the ultimate reality has fucking slammed on your doorstop and like it's become solidly real to you. Until that happens, and even after that happens, as so long as you have a body and mind, you are a participant in the conventional world that everyone sees, that everyone is witness to, and you need to navigate it. So like it gives like if you're curious about like the process of like there's like steps on how to do this shit, and it like lays it out like it's like pretty reasonable to look at. You may find this interesting. Go Google search the Patanjali's, or forget about Patanjali, just say the 8 limbs of yoga. If you search the 8 limbs of yoga on Google, you'll find the 8 stages of like spiritual development of like, and it tells you what to do at each stage. And like the first 2 are like about like not stealing from people and shit like that, like being good morally in shit that you should not do. And then it says like shit that you should do, like be truthful and like stuff like that. So like Christianity kind of lives on that level of like basic morality teaching. But then it goes inner, and it basically tells you how to prepare yourself, like you like do what we in the West call yoga, which is like doing stretches and stuff like that to like prepare your body for ultimately meditation. And then like it goes through like you do breath control to like you steady your breath, which is like your ability to fluctuate the energy of your body through your breath and like through like a conscious mechanism of it. And then like it slowly brings you deeper and deeper into like stages of meditative absorption, which ultimately will show you through direct experience what the ultimate reality is. It's not like trying to like tell you here's what it is and just like take my word for it. It's saying like, hey, if you do these things, you will see for yourself that this is the case. And like I've done so, and I agree. ultimately, the ultimate reality cannot fully be captured with words, but like they do a pretty damn good fucking job. And these texts have existed for like thousands of years, and like they still hold up perfectly. It's like the beautiful thing about this pursuit, this life path, is it is perfectly as applicable to modern life as it was thousands of years ago. We are still, in large part, the same animal of human being that developed these traditions back when, and what they're describing is like universal experiences that may seem like they're bound to a particular culture or time, but like when in like Advaita Vedanta in particular has much more to say about consciousness itself rather than like how to navigate the relative worlds that we seem to exist in. I'm going to start wrapping it up. I'm going to start getting to my original point. All that to say, I was wrestling with these things on the intellectual level. Like, so I had moved from being occupied with my thoughts, whether it be about politics or just the daily stresses of daily life or work shit. That was previously, before I had the spiritual awakening that led me to want to do this shit. I was like on that like daily grind level of like, how do I fucking manage existing? And there still is that. Like, but like, my life focus moved from wrestling with those things, like how do I, like navigating the world shit, to trying to understand the spiritual philosophy shit, like wrestling with the texts of Advaita Vedanta and Buddhism, and what I was like thinking about what I was seeing in meditation, like how do I make sense of this? What's the deal with all this? How does it work? Trying to figure, because I have this like kind of skeptical like scientific mindset about it, where like I want to see it for myself. I want it to be part of my direct experience, and also I want to be able to make sense of it. Like I want to be able to, like I know that this pursuit in particular will never ever fully be captured into words, what it feels like to experience from the inside. It's impossible. But you can get a good enough approximation of the mechanics to like that it feels grounded to you, and it satisfies that mental layer of like, I need to have it be in my knowledge base. I need to have it be in my understanding. However, once that was fully grasped on the intellectual level, the next, to go deeper, to continue on the journey, you need to go, air quotes, beyond the mind. You need to see that the reason that I've been turning to my mind for literally all these years, both before that I was spiritual and now while I'm spiritual and I'm wrestling with like what is consciousness type shit, I'm always turning to the mind, which is like your body's onboard computer system. Like it's like you going to fucking your internal Google or Siri and asking it like fundamental questions about the nature of existence. Like you're like, hey, like this onboard computer, which by the way, our minds are beautiful things. They are incredibly powerful. They in the right contexts, to the right ends, they're very useful. But if it's people say that the mind is a terrible master, but a great servant. And I think that's true. If you see your mind as like a tool and not like the central arbiter of truth of your life, it can be useful. But you have to develop a certain level of detachment to your mind. You have to allow it to exist and see its function, but also not like, at the end of the day, when it really comes down to it, I was turning to my mind for answers because there was something fundamentally about my heart, my felt experience of existence, that was hurt or stressed, or the experience fundamentally, before it becomes articulated as any particular kind of feeling, there was a central uncomfortability in my heart. There was an unsettledness about my what I would say makes up a core being of a separate person. So like your heart is still like, it's your heart, and it's not like another body's heart, right? And the heart is used as a metaphor. We understand this. It's for your intellectual, your emotional capacity. Your heart is personally yours. It is not another person that you knows. There was a quote I came across recently in another YouTube video that someone was saying, "Who knoweth the heart. Who knoweth a man's heart but the spirit that dwelleth within? And that hit me. Because like in order for me to, I was very much living in the mind. I was very much living in the mind, and there's like layers, right? So the most outer layer of you as a separate person is your physical body, like that you can take your fist and like knock on your knee, and it appears to be solid, right? Like that's the first level of like you as a separate being, as it encounters the world as we understand it. Going inward one step is the breath, like the life force within you, like the energy that flows through your body that allows it to move in the first place. That like central vitality, that's like one step inward. And then one step inward from there is the intellect level of like your ability to process information, your ability to like your onboard computer that I was talking about a moment ago. But like one step inward from there is the heart, like the emotional core that's causing you to run to the computer in the first place. And like I had been working on that level subtly. Like if I knew that all these years when I was meditating, I was really working on the heart and not really on the mind, if I knew that I was working on the heart, I would probably be more averse to doing it. But now that I like tricked myself in a weird way to like working on my heart without like knowing that that's what I was doing. But anyways, a couple months ago, like towards the end of May, I released the attachment of my mind, like stop relying on my mind as like a means by which to like the central it was no longer in the captain's chair. Like I still have a mind, it's still perfectly functional, it's fine, it allows me to do my daily life and do my job and all that good shit, but it was no longer in the driver's seat of my life. I put it aside, and it's a very powerful thing. But like before I was able to go to like that consciousness, that universal consciousness level that is the core of all of us, is the same undifferentiated consciousness. It is the same in all individuals. What makes us different is our minds and our bodies. But there's nothing different between the consciousness in you, between the consciousness in me, between the consciousness in every person you've ever met. It is the exact same undifferentiated consciousness, but it is witness to a different mind. It is witness to a different set of particular circumstances, but the consciousness itself is the exact fucking same. From the moment you were born to right fucking now to the moment you die, exact goddamn same consciousness. Forever. But in order to see that, in order to experience that directly, I had to go down one more level from the mind, from the intellect, and like look at the heart and say, on some fundamental level, I am experiencing a heartbreak that is so deeply cooked into my being of a separate individual that I don't even fully acknowledge that it's there. I've felt this centralized pain that I've been to be fair, been working on in therapy and this spiritual stuff, and like just life in the way that my life is playing out has helped me to chip away at healing the heart this whole time. So I think that allows me to now approach it very consciously and say, hey, let me look at this directly and I'm establishing a balance where I live in the heart and I'm becoming into the awareness that I do have a big heart. I have I'm a very caring person. And having a big heart that's an open heart, makes you in a sense vulnerable. But it's better for you to keep your heart open than it is to have a closed heart, even if the closed heart hypothetically protects you. It's ultimately better for you in life if your heart is open. It allows you to continue to grow. It allows you to move and develop in the real way. In the not like building onto yourself, but in the way that really matters, of like just being okay. Just being okay with existing, which in my experience, the fact that you exist is fucking immutable. Not like bodies will die, minds will die. These are temporary things. The consciousness that lights up all of them is fucking eternal. It is eternal. It is always the same. And you are that. So when we come into this finite existence, I think a part of us deep down knows that. And if we don't know that, we grapple with it, and it becomes the focus of our like the fact. A lot of people are fucking afraid of death because they think they become obliterated, and they can't grapple with, I might just not exist one day. Like that's like I'm even cool with that. Like I now think that consciousness is eternal, right? And so I'm not actually worried about. Like I don't think death is any real end. In the same way that I don't think when you go to sleep at the end of the day, I don't think that's like the end of anything meaningful other than just a day. It's just a day. You're gonna wake up tomorrow. Like you die at the end of one life, you probably will, you'll wake up in another one. It's like, you know, the basic of Hinduism, reincarnation. But like, anyways, I'm trying to live in the heart, and when I relax into it, the brain. When I was living in the mind, I could like make myself feel like I was experiencing superficial progress by pumping energy into the mind, by like chasing down an idea that I thought was exciting, or a new concept in spirituality, or a new way to like understand the world. And like I could like run that script and run that script and run that script and like try to like fucking make sparks light up. The heart doesn't work that way. The heart demands that you feel it, that you let it talk. It's not about you can't make the heart feel anything. You can't make the heart feel anything. The heart can respond to the mind, the heart can respond to your thoughts, right? But ultimately, the heart is the silent talker. The heart is the silent talker, and it demands to be heard. And when you sit with it and allow it to say its piece, and you don't fight it, you just listen to yourself. It's like giving yourself therapy. When you let that happen, it can become okay. It can become something that it allows you to finally experience a rest that I think the central tension that my hypothesis, I can't in the quote I said earlier, who knoweth the heart of the man but the spirit that dwelleth within. I am not aware of anyone else's internal experience as a direct first person experience. So I don't know what it's like to be other people like lived experience directly. I can surmise from what they say or what I observe, but ultimately I only have in my mind I only have experiential knowledge of this body and mind. But I have a feeling that there's like a central tension to the way that most people organize their life that we take to be natural. We take to be natural that there's always going to be some essence of tension that like it's even maybe considered to be good for you. Like it allows you to survive and take care of yourself. Like this central fear. And I think it's the fear, it's like a twofold fear. One side is I'm afraid that I'm going to stop existing. And the other side of it is I'm afraid of existing. I don't like it's simultaneously I don't want to blink out of existence and I don't know how to deal with existing. Like I feel like that's the central thing, and then it manifests in a bunch of different fucking forms. Be it relationship struggles, or you're struggling with doing your work at college or work or whatever, or interpersonal anything like, or just financial struggles, or like any number of things, all manifestations of these two central, I'm afraid to stop existing and I'm afraid to exist. And sometimes both. Sometimes people feel both of those things at the same time, and they're just fucking fully trapped in fear mode. And that was me. And it became so, I'm going to start wrapping up, but like it became so critical for me to deal with that I centered my entire life around it for the past several years. And it's done absolute wonders for my experience going through life. Like I do truly feel liberated in a way that I am skeptical that most people ever get to experience. And on a final note, I feel like there's a part of me that like has this lingering notion that like I owe it in some way to pass on this liberated feeling to other people, that I owe it to give back something. Like I feel like something was freely given to me that I truly worked on. Like I took and I carved, like I did something with it. Like I engaged with it and I made it important. I made it a priority. But I don't know. I need to figure out ultimately, or give up this notion that that I owe something to other people who are still suffering. Because I don't know. It may not be something that they want to hear from me or in general or whatever. So I think that's still left. That's like one of my few like unresolved questions from the past several years is like, okay, now that this liberation happened and continues to happen and continues to deepen for me, what do I owe to the next person who doesn't even know that that's an option? And I guess right now that's purely manifesting as me making these audio logs. So it's been like 27 minutes. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.